Yo guys, sorry, you already know that today we are back reading Danganronpa Zero. Today we are going to be reading Chapter 6, or at least what is labeled as Chapter 6. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. Let's go ahead and just pick right back up where we left off and keep reading. Honestly, I don't really remember what happened last, but I know as soon as I start reading, everything will click again. So that's generally why I don't have much to say. But I do think this might be a pretty lengthy chapter, so let's go ahead and get into it. Hopefully there's only a few videos left of this, because, like I've mentioned, I'm done with the Danganronpa 3 anime, so I just really want to get to playing Danganronpa V3, which I'm not going to do until I'm done reading this. So let's go ahead and hop right on into it. Chapter 6. The man walked to the girl's room quickly. It was clear the girl had not bothered to take the key from her door earlier. Despite this, there was no one inside the room. He swiftly opened the door, letting a rush of air into the room. Inside the room, there was a poster on the wall which flapped noisily. Why? Why did she have to be out now? He had told her to stay put, even when she had nothing to do. Without realizing it, he felt shouting obscenities at her. Okay, so this is probably Matsuda coming back to the room looking for Ryoko. Cool. That being said, the man had fully realized that there would have been no sense to be drawn from his words if he had done so. No matter what he had said to her, the girl would just forget everything. Letting out a large sigh, Matsuda Yasuke, dropped his line of sight to where his hands were. His hands remained scrunched into tight fists. No matter how many times he tried to relax them, it was impossible. He had lost feeling in them before. He could still feel Murasame Soshun's neck squeezed between his hand. Murasame Soshun's sore red eyes flashed through his mind suddenly. He squeezed his fist more. It was like his hands were still wrapped around the boy's neck, suffocating him of air. Why? Did she have to be out now? He whispered in a much weaker tone than before as he left the room. He exited the dormitory, and soon Matsuda found himself heading towards the biology building in the East District. If he were her, then he would be there. There wouldn't be another place a girl who had forgotten everything would be. It wasn't even the height of summer yet, but already the back of Matsuda's dirty shirt was drenched in sweat. Covered in perspiration, he felt like he was as heavy as lead. It would have taken around 10 minutes to reach the biology building on a normal day, but this time it took at least twice the amount of time. Even so, Matsuda somehow finally reached the biology building. Looking like a broken wind-up toy, he scaled the stairs in a strange, awkward waddle, and within a few minutes was standing in front of the neurology research facility. As he took a deep breath, he roughly opened the door. He looked into the room with hope. However, only despair was there. There was no one there. It was still too early to be discouraged by this, but an uncomfortable feeling stirred in him. What happened here? It had not been hidden well. There were traces of vandalism in there, on the desk, on the bed, all over the laboratory. Don't tell me. His expression changed as he quickly hurried over to the bed. Something moved under it, as if it had anticipated his actions. Who's there? As he instinctively raised his voice, he reached down and raised the bedsheet. He saw a girl under the bed. Matsuda felt his stab of anxiety ease with some relief, but within the next moment, that relief was blown away like an explosion. Matsuda saw the bed thrown into the air. It drifted through the air, looking as though it was much lighter than what it truly was, and soon began to spin around in dizzying motion. After spun for an inconceivable amount of time, it finally fell to the ground. Like gravity had at last remembered it existed. The bedsheet's still in. Nice. Matsuda's hand and oh, sorry. The bed. Okay, sorry. The bed sheets still in Matsuda's hand and flipped upwards and lightly grazed against the nose and floated back to the ground. A deep rumbling echoed through the room. After rumbling had come to a stop, Matsuda heard a voice, or more specifically, Matsuda heard a laugh. Ha 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 ha. On the other side of the bed stood a girl from before. Wow, talk about good reflexes. I wasn't expecting you to be there. I thought it was yet another idiotic girl. That girl from earlier had a stupid grin plastered to her face, and all the guys I've seen up till now in this place seem to smile just like they're bonkers. But maybe their appearance was grandeur enough to make them at least a bit attractive. That girl was trying to give him instructions, even if it was in a strange way, and that Matsuda guy asked her questions like he was ignoring her. He just wanted to hear about that girl. He wanted to know about her so much it was unbearable. He was so fascinated by it. He looked at her body over and over like he was looking it all up. Then, naturally, it should be surprising, his Danganronpa was all, what? For fuck's sake, Matsuda suddenly kicked the bed beside him. A metallic clang echoed the lab. Oh my, are you mad? The girl continued to smile all the same. But it's me who wants to be angry. Hey, why aren't you looking for the ridiculously adorable face of one Junko Enoshima like a lust-driven demon? Why is it? Hey, why aren't you horny? What is happening? As he heard the girl's words, Matsuda remembered something. I knew it, you really are weird. Am I? But you see, this is really weird for me. That's your real personality, isn't it? Wait. Put it with those comments about my personality. Enoshima quickly switched to an offended tone of voice. Okay, he is talking to Junko. I was like, what? It sounded like whoever this girl was talking about Junko as like someone else, and I was like, well, then who is this? Alright, but this is just Junko doing her thing. For sure, you're making it sound like up until now I was just feigning innocence, but I've been making sure I keep at least one aspect of me the same. So you'll know it's me for sure, no matter how I am. Still, since I bore easily, I pretty much hit the snooze button as soon as you got such a sloppy personality. Even still, then, what's your purpose? Matsuda interrupted Inoshima with a question. His expression changed to a glare. Oh, it's getting serious? You won't waste your time talking to the ever-famous queen of chatting. It's like we're in a sailing battle, right? Just answer me. Frustrated, Matsuda raised his voice angrily. What is it you want to achieve? Just what is it you're trying to do? Inoshima tilted her head slightly to the side. Nothing really. I don't want to do anything. What? That's kind of a lie. Too late. I can't do a thing. I'm not going to do a single thing. I have everyone else doing it for me. Guys like the student council, the headmaster, or the steering committee, and also that girl who you absolutely adore. Everyone is running around doing my work. Hearing that, Matsuda's face went dark red. You already know what I'm doing? Whatever are you saying? Inoshima raised her head. Matsuda looked down at her. I've known what you were doing for a very long time now. You've been doing exactly as I intended you to do. So what are you saying? Hey, won't you tell me? Matsuda clenched his jaw at her words. Seeing that, Inoshima quivered with an ecstatic look stuck to her face. Ahem, Matsuda-kun's face sure is amazing right now. That despair-induced face you're showing me, I'd like to see it more. Become more and more despair-induced. Fuck off. Matsuda's face contorted into rage. Watching him, Inoshima snorted and chuckled. She placed her hands behind her back as casually inspected her surroundings. Moving on though, Matsuda-kun, what is it you plan to do from now on? What do you mean? He immediately responded. Inoshima suddenly reached out and grabbed Matsuda's wrist. Oh no, your hand is wounded. You weren't scratched, were you? It looks painful. Should I kiss it better? Matsuda quickly tried to pull away his hand, but Inoshima held on tightly. Now let's see. These scratches were caused by some other guy, weren't they? It looks like he was probably an honor student, but he was terribly ill. And when he made this wound, he was probably bedridden with shock, wasn't he? How do you know that? That's a good point. How do you know that? I don't know. I just understand. Because it was all part of my plan. Inoshima brought her own face close to Matsuda's pale face and grinned crazily. Boo boo boo, gotcha, just kidding. She then released Matsuda's hand once again and observed her surroundings. So I'm sure there's a precious existence you want to protect. That's right, this is disturbingly similar to that thing with your mother. You must feel awful. Sorry. Oh, speaking of your mother, I can't help but feel that Ryoko Tanashi Chan looks just like her, you know? They have the same kind of atmosphere and stuff. I wonder if they shared some sort of connection or similarity to each other. Or maybe you're the connection? I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it's I see your friend is so forgetful, just like your mother. I gotta say, it seems like guys today are really into MILFs. You especially seem to like those MILFs who forget their own miserable backstory. Who wrote this? As she turned to Matsuda, Inoshima looked up at him persistently. She happily bounced, walking around him over and over again. That's why you wanted to protect her well this time. I get it, you feel sorry for her. Even so, you're troubled. You're incredibly troubled. That's what it seems like, what I've been hearing. Inoshima stood in front of Matsuda. She glared more intensely at him. For real though, what do you plan to do from now on? Matsuda opened his mouth, trying to find words to say only to close it again. His pale lips trembled a little, but he could only muster a glare directly back at Inoshima. Inoshima looked like she had been expecting his reaction and began to walk quietly again. I suppose it can't be helped. Oh dear, I'll just have to think about this one a little harder. However, immediately after she said that, she stopped walking. Don't get me wrong or anything, she yelled out as she went bright red with embarrassment. I don't really mind if you don't care about it. Still, it's up to me, even though I'm unreliable. And I can't just leave it be. He didn't understand the reasons why. What is she talking about? And she would change her personality with no context. Matsuda wasn't able to follow along the conversation's direction at all. She paid no mind to his reaction at all and started to walk all around as if nothing had happened. Well, I did say I'd have to think about this for a bit, but really there's only one way to go about things. And Inoshima circled around Matsuda as his eyes followed her and continued in a very straightforward tone. It's Zero Kamakura. No matter what happens, he'll end up with the blame. He ran away, and that's fine since he's the cause of the incident they call the worst and largest in Hope Speak Academy's history. In that case, it should be easy to fix the issue with the student council president and the issue with the guys from the steering committee. Those guys are just trying to cover it up again anyway. Hearing words, Matsuda muttered inside his head. I knew it. Still, if that guy said what he thought was true, then that means it just makes less and less sense. Just tell me, what are you trying to achieve? Matsuda asked. You know what? I told you before, didn't I? I'm not trying to do anything. He screamed in a high-pitched voice and then laughed it off. I'm just leaving this interesting tea party. I've had enough interrupting things. Right now, I'm just existing as a C-list character. I don't do anything else. He didn't know if her words were truly her honest feelings on the matter, but no matter how many times she could repeat herself, he probably would never know. Matsuda understood that at least. Well, in the end, it's all up to you. I don't really care what you do with the situation. Yeah, do whatever you like, because I'll accept whatever ending we come to. And Inoshima stopped walking. She stood in front of Matsuda and turned to the boy before posing another question. So what will you do? Is it all dependent on whether you're going to go... It's all dependent on whether you will go along with it or not, isn't it? Although Matsuda had understood what she was saying, Matsuda had to ask her something. You know where this Kamakura guy's whereabouts are? Nope, not a clue. And Inoshima quickly shook her head. Matsuda frowned. But you said Kamakura would get the blame and nothing. Just relax about it. All be clear soon enough. She interrupted him in a high-pitched voice. I know where the guys who know where Kamakura are and what they're doing. You don't know where Kamakura is too. Steering committee? Ding dong, correct. And she announced with a cocky attitude. If you heard it from those guys, then Kamakura's whereabouts should be easy enough to work it out. But even if they did that, what? But even if they did, that doesn't mean I know where he is, right? And she remained with a cocky attitude, but her voice deepened. That's right, it doesn't mean that. At that moment, the girl's expression slipped in her face deadpan, like she had lost interest in everything. But perhaps it's not such a big deal. I mean, if those guys don't say, then that just means Kamakura's whereabouts remain unknown. Your plan will fail, and I'll be ruined. But that's all that will happen, so you shouldn't pay too much mind to it. As she muttered in a monotone voice, Enoshima turned to the window and walked towards it. Her eyes filled with melancholy as she leaned against the window and stared outside. The laboratory overlooked the East District courtyard and the preparatory school's parade. You're talking as if it doesn't matter if I fail. Matsuda raised his voice in a puzzled tone and looked towards Enoshima's back. Because it doesn't matter. The girl continued to stare out the window and laughed absent-mindedly. In private, I would always think something along the lines of how despair-inducingly wonderful it must be to put an end to something so insignificant as small fish. She said things she never meant to say. Her words were a reflection of her true feelings that lay in her heart. And that means, you really are weird. So you don't like that, do you? Enoshima looked back and had an innocent smile on her face as if she was mistaken. She had the face of a devil one moment, and the next she smiled like an angel. She hadn't intended to make either face. That's why he continued to shake as he talked with the girl. He felt more than exhausted. That's right. For that girl's sake, it's not like you can lose. Her pure and innocent smile remaining on her face, Enoshima turned and walked silently to Matsuda. Ooh-poo-poo, you really are someone who's in true love. You're prepared to fight for your love. I bet when you say love is blind, they were thinking of you. That doesn't mean you do stupid things. Actually, I'm grateful. You're destined to spend eternity with that person, so I thank you from the very bottom of my heart. Enoshima walked up to Matsuda and didn't come to a stop until finally their toes were touching. He whispered gently to him, do your best, Matsuda-kun, because that's what I expect. Defeat the despair you face, and let hope win, shining victorious, because that's what I expect will happen. As she whispered quietly, Enoshima leaned towards him until their faces almost touched, and then she leaned in more. In the next moment, their lips touched. Matsuda didn't break away. He was puzzled, but he gave up and just accepted it as it was. Nothing about this scene makes sense at all. What is happening? It was a vicious, long, entwining, violent kiss? Okay, sure. After a time that was far too long to be described in a single word, Enoshima finally pulled away. In the moments after the kiss, she backed away from him, and in dead silence, she walked to the laboratory door. Where are you going? Matsuda asked as he wiped his mouth. In return for the kiss, I thought I'd lend you a bit of a hand, said Enoshima, laughing, but she quickly stopped. Wait, you don't need to go out of your way. But his mouth wouldn't move. No, it wasn't just his mouth. His entire body felt numb. It was impossible. Or immobile. Oh, did she, do something to him? I don't know. It looks like you were caught. It's such a classic, too, Matsuda-kun. Looking at the frozen Matsuda, Enoshima looked like she was a kid who just gotten a beloved toy. She was smiling, overcome by joy. You know, lipstick is a dangerous thing. Oh, my lipstick, for example, has been tainted with poison. Poison sounds like a classic, so nostalgic. But don't worry, it's not life-threatening. Okay, alright. That's why. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But now it kind of does. Enoshima happily bounced around Matsuda's still form. Knowing her plan worked, she proudly let her joy show. She finally let herself bounce in front of Matsuda. Now then, I should give you one final piece of advice. Enoshima suddenly switched to a serious expression like a boxer moment before the bell rings. You know, in this scenario, only you can make the choice, Matsuda-kun. Think carefully, worry about it, and choose the choice you think is best, hope or despair. The choices are so diverse and yet surprisingly intricately connected. Anyway, have a good think about it. It's no good. I'm tired now. I wonder if this conversation is just that tedious. Well, whatever. In any case, that's our conversation for now. Goodbye. She brought the one-sided conversation she had started to a one-sided end, and Enoshima staggered out of the lab. Wait! Despite yelling out, no sound escaped Matsuda's mouth. The boy stood paralyzed, waiting for feeling to return to his body. Okay. I'm trying to get a sense as to how far in I am. Okay. Alright, so I guess we will start chapter 7 on the next time, because I don't think that there's in the thing that I have, I'm pretty sure chapter 7 is like the last one that I found, which means that there are no more chapters. I think there should be, but I just don't think they're labeled on this document, or I could be completely wrong. So I'm going to end this video here. On the next time, we'll start chapter 7, and then I'll probably just kind of split it up into however many videos it takes. It looks like there's about like 90 pages left, so, you know, we're getting there, but it is still going to be a little bit. So we'll start that on the next time, and hopefully y'all are enjoying. So that was an interesting conversation, and we'll see what happens to Matsuda, because I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. I wonder if anybody's gonna like find him and what they do as a result of that. So who knows? But that was that. So hopefully y'all enjoyed. If so, let me know, and I will see you all the next time. So till then, peace out.